it kind of seems like there's a constant battle with the voice inside of your head, that you never can truly feel like this voice can be your friend. But I promise you, there is a way to make this voice be your friend. And in this video, I'm going to explain one of the faculties, one of the aspects of your mind that you need to discipline to make this voice a friend of yours. But not just a friend, a teacher, a guide, a partner for yourself and the reality that you want to experience and for the life that you're currently living. So what is this one aspect? This one aspect is something called inner hearing. Now, we obviously have ears on the outside. There's no doubt about that. But just like there are ears on the outside, there are ears on the inside. How else is it that we hear this voice inside of our minds if there isn't a spiritual sense of hearing? Think about it. If we didn't have a inner spiritual sense of hearing, we would not have the ability to interact with the world. Because we have this inner voice, that's what allows us to actually interact with the world, but ultimately create the world that we're experiencing in this moment right now. So I'm gonna try my best to make a little bit of a drawing. That is such a bad ear. Bear with me. All right, so we got our boy. Let's just call him Django. Django, on the outside. Let me finish these actually. Django on the outside struggles all the time. He's constantly around people who have no drive in their lives. They're apathetic, which just means they have no drive. Apathy, just the inability to find motivation or to find will. People who constantly complain, people who are constantly victimizing themselves, people who just have no sense of life. So he's hearing people say, life is so hard. Life sucks. It's their fault that I'm this way. Or it could just be complaining about things. So it could be, this job sucks. Why does work always feel miserable? And things of this nature. And please expound on this. You know, it could be it could be stuff about your family. Your family is complaining about each other on how annoying you are, or it could be friends talking about how much you suck and how you do things in a certain way that's stupid. And it just take what I'm saying and apply it to the things that you hear in your life that are currently just super negative, that quite frankly just suck and make you super upset. Now the problem with Django is that he currently does not realize this is his fault. And this takes a deep level of maturity, and not just maturity, but, you know, will to accept that this is his responsibility to fix. So we take all of this, right? The outside speech, that we hear with our outer ears, and then what's happening. I'm trying to figure out how I want to draw this for you guys. We want to take this, okay? We draw another one that is so ovally. Wait, I'm not trying to make him look like an egg. What's happening from this point? This is even worse. Is this stuff is going? I'm just gonna write negative. And this is going directly inside of his mind. Okay? I think you're understanding this image. Let me add some more arrows to emphasize the negativity. This is going inside of his mind. Okay, so now we're going to take the step from the physical, and we're going to go into the internals. So instead of this is not a head, this is just the mind, okay? The mind, now, as always, you always hear the mind as a projector, right? The first principle of the 7 Hermetic principles is the universe is mental. So, since the universe is mental, reality is mental, this is a projector, okay? And this projector projects images out into the screen of space and time, but what is being projected out into the screen of space and time that we call reality is what you're hearing from the physical first. Well, really the internal first, but most people have been trained through educational systems, political ideologies, really just society itself. We're trained to operate from the physical world first, but really it's actually within first that we then hear on the outside. So at some point when you were a kid, or Django was a kid, he got trained to start to think that life is a direct that life itself is the cause, rather than what he's experiencing within is the cause. Life itself, reality itself, is the effect of what's going on inside of the mind. So in this case, his mind is filled with negative self-talk. Okay, now this negative self-talk is, I'm dumb, I suck, life sucks. Now this is so many more things, okay? It's not just these examples that I'm writing right now. Money is super hard to make. Opportunities run away from me. I can't find any opportunity around me, because he might hear other people say, why don't I ever get opportunities for business? Why don't people reach out to me for the work that I do? The 2 days ago, I had a client, or a potential client, reached out to me from someone I have no idea who this person was, but they referred us to this person. Their place burnt down, so now we got to go and get their place painted up. But I understand that opportunities are literally everywhere. They're everywhere. So I don't have an issue with not having opportunities in my life, because I hear myself speak inside of my mind that opportunities are everywhere. I talk to myself in my mind about how opportunities are everywhere. And based on that simple fact, I have had opportunities come into my life that I don't know where they came from. I don't have any reason to try to understand where they came from, how it works. I don't care how it works. I just know that my mind is a first cause substance, and the reality that I'm experiencing is second cause substance. So take these examples and recreate it for what your negative talk is in of itself. If there's a one-on-one session that I do with my client, then I will help you figure out what it is for yourself. But in this case, please take it for yourself and try to understand what it is that you're saying to yourself, so then you can understand the next part of this video. So as this projector takes all of this and projects it out into the screen of space, which is just reality, then you are physically going to express these things that you speak to yourself, that you hear to yourself. And part of your mind becoming your friend is you have to be courageous enough to say no to what you hear physically, and allow yourself to speak to this voice, to hear what you want to hear. You have to object the evidences of your senses. That's a huge part of making this voice inside of your mind your friend, is you have just write it down. Oops. You have to object to object the evidence of your senses and accept the evidence of your evidence. This is fire, man. This is so important. You have to object the evidence of your senses and accept the evidence of your inner senses. Life itself is not first cause substance. So it is your job to train and to discipline your inner hearing to hear what it is that you want for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are the creator of your reality. It does not matter what people say to you. It does not matter what those negative people say to you in your life. Who gives a flying fuck about what these people are saying? Their shitty attitudes have no significance in your life unless you give what they are saying evidence and value to yourself or truth. You make their truth your truth. But at the end of the day, you need to understand that you must deny the evidence of your physical senses. In any case, if you're experiencing sickness, who cares if you're sick? I am healed and I am healthy. And yes, it is a challenge to do this at first, but as you train the faculties of your mind, it becomes far easier than it did before. And in this case, it becomes so much more enjoyable to deny all the negative BS that you hear in your life, that you hear in society, that you hear on social media. And it becomes far more enjoyable to hear what it is that you want for yourself for no other reason than wanting to hear what is good. And this could be delusional. You know, the real delusion in life is accepting the world at face value. For all of the chaos and all of the lunacy that's going on in the world, that is delusion. To think that money is the root of all evil, that is delusional, because there are immense amounts of people who use money for good, just as there's immense amount of people who use money for bad. So please realize that what you see in life is not objectively truthful. It is only truthful based in the fact that you have created a truth centered around that. There's no other reason for its truth other than the fact that you accept it as truth. Think about that. A part of this is being mindful of what you are putting into your mind. So there are things that you need to be mindful of. There are a couple of things. Really, and hold on, actually. I was gonna say, you need to be mindful about movies you watch, TV shows you watch, music that you listen to. But at the end of the day, no, it doesn't really matter. Yes, there's propaganda and things, but it's up to you to be convicted enough in your own truth. So the only things that you really need to be mindful of are beliefs, feelings, and thoughts. Because I like some music that doesn't say some good shit in it. Now, obviously, you shouldn't be listening to music that's talking about taking a bunch of fucking drugs so you overdose, or fucking gangbanging people, or fucking shooting people, or for whatever purpose. everything's contextual. If you're in war and you have no other choice but to kill people, it might be a good motivation, to be honest. So you have to, you really have to think critically about the stuff. But at the end of the day, you and I are not in a position of war. We're just average people going through life, trying to figure out what the fuck we want to do, how we want to do it, and what we want to experience. So go ahead and watch movies and all these things, listen to music, read books. But at the end of the day, as you're reading these things, be mindful of how they shape your beliefs, how they create emotional feelings, and how you experience thoughts about what it is that you are interacting with. These three things define everything that goes on inside of your mind. And there's more things, obviously, but for this video, this is what we're focusing on. So if you can control what it is you want to believe, what it is that you want to feel, and what it is that you want to think, you're good. You are so good. Now, all these people who say you need to get rid of all these violent things and don't listen to these certain things and you need to meditate for hours on end and you'll be enlightened and all this stuff, they're fearful. They have a fearful mind, and that they don't have the power to object what can potentially influence them. You have the power. So who cares if you're in an environment with negativity? Obviously, you don't want to be there all the time. That's not what I'm saying. But you have the power to object or reject what it is that is currently in front of you in your environment. You think Gandhi cared anything about his situation? I don't know enough about Gandhi, to be honest, but I know that I know enough to realize that in the face of his situation, most people in that situation probably would have been killed. But he could care less about that, and look at what he did. That is a person who has control over the beliefs, their feelings, and their thoughts. His inner power was greater than the outer evidence of what was going on. Jesus could care less about people who were sick. Most people in his situation would go nowhere near the poor people, the sick people, the ill people, because they are too afraid of receiving what it is that those people had. But Jesus did not see any of that stuff. Jesus only saw perfection. Jesus only heard his voice speak on the perfection that he saw within his mind. It is the same exact thing for you. Whatever situation that you're in, who cares how bad it is? Have the power and have the confidence in your inner senses to control where you place yourself in space and time. In this case, do not allow yourself to hear, I'm gonna get sick because I'm around a sick person, or I'm gonna get shot because I'm in a bad place. I'm gonna blah 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 blah. Some people might think, dude, you're absolutely delusional, and in some regards it is, but truly, if you and I both believe that we control our realities, and we both have heard stories of people who were in situations who should have died, but they didn't, and the sole factor was that they had the power to hear what it is that they wanted to hear, and they were good, then why can't we? People who are paralyzed or sick hear themselves speak to themselves that they are healthy and that they're grateful, and they have gratitude for the state that they want before they have it, they get it. Why can't we do the same thing? Why can't you do that for yourself? If you're stuck in poverty and you hear people who talk about the situation that you're in and then they became multimillionaires, do you think that they were thinking to themselves, oh, how sorry for me? How poor for me? And none at all. They were not thinking. There were times, yes, because we're not perfect. But the majority, 95% of the time, they were always in that state of hearing that I'm a multimillionaire, that I'm successful, that I'm always around opportunities to increase my wealth. I'm offering a service that benefits myself and the whole of humanity. Because they understood that who they are within is who they are without, or on the outside, I should say. So be mindful about your beliefs, your feelings, and your thoughts when you are out in the world. Do not let the outside world dictate who you are within. so that you may continue to operate out of the state of being that you wish to be in, that you know yourself to be in, whether that's successful or really it's not multiple things, it's just successful or satisfied. They all kind of coexist in one another. You could say divine, whatever that means. But stay true to who you know yourself to be. Hear only things that reflect who you truly know yourself to be. Do not allow any room for a negativity to come into your mind, and give yourself time, please. This is not something you can just immediately give into. You know, you still have your reason and logic brain, and if you're used to negativity, your reason and logic brain is going to try to stay in accordance to that because that's what it's used to, and because the reason and logic is designed to keep you safe, it doesn't realize that you're trying to improve your life. It only realizes that you're changing, and change is uncomfortable. So give yourself grace, give your brain grace for this. Give your nervous system time to adjust to this change. I would say the thing that can help you the most is silence. Put down the TV, the music, and sit in meditation, not for hours, but for 30 minutes to an hour every day, and focus all of your attention on what it is that you want to be, but from the place that you're already that person. Like, you need to train your inner mind, your inner ears to hear what it is you want to hear. So if you want a successful business, you need to train that inner ear to hear that you're already successful. So for me, that's what I did. I would hear clients say, what a wonderful job. I would hear my subcontractors who I partner with, that they love working for me. I would hear the bank saying, good job, man, this is a big check or something like that. Before any of that happened. And then last year, my business did $863,000 in revenue. So I am living proof of this and how this stuff works amongst other people that you watch. So it's your turn to cultivate this inner sense of hearing, to make this voice your friend. Because if other people are doing it, then so can't you. And there's no difference between myself, those people that you watch. We're all in this world figuring this stuff out together. There's nothing special about us. We're all equally made the same. So it's your time to shine, man. I would see myself with the subcontractors that I'm working with, and I would hear them say, thank you so much for providing this opportunity. I love working with you. And as I continuously did these things, I would start to experience these things. And yes, it takes a certain level of courage to truly give yourself to this power. And I still struggle with it at times, quite often, which I know, and that's exactly the point of this video, is because there's no reason to struggle with that. There should be no reason to struggle with that, because I have the evidence to support it. You have the evidence to support it. So continue to practice these visualizations to deepen your connection to your imagination. And as you start to create the mental equivalent of already having said things, whether it's for your business like we just described, or maybe it's something personal with a partner, or let's say investing. I've always wanted to have a decent sized investment portfolio, and now I finally do. And I don't ever say these things to brag, because that is never my intention. I have struggled immensely with talking about myself on social media, because I have no desire to be narcissistic. I have no desire to put myself up on a pedestal, and I have my entire desire is to help you understand that you can do exactly what I'm doing, and not just myself, but you can do things that you see other people doing that are doing better things than I am doing. So I always wanted to have an investment portfolio of 6 figures, and now I have a multiple 6-figure investment portfolio. I've wanted that for years. Since 2020, I would go on to Pinterest and I would look at screenshots of. It's so crazy, you know, when you really take a second to realize you did it. Excuse me. I would go on Pinterest and I'd see all these images of investment portfolios of being 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, 10 figures. And I'm at the 6-figure mark, and I know I'll be at the 10-figure mark in the next 5 years. And it's all a matter of putting forth your imaginable abilities, putting forth your creative abilities to define what it is you want to experience, and then using your reason and logic part of your brain to get there. Because the objective of the reason and logic is to not understand how things are going to work out, but to steer your body in the proper direction to get there. Because just like you can think of Google Maps as the right side of your brain, the left side is simply following the maps. You don't know how Google Maps works. It's pretty simple, obviously, but we don't know how the code works and all the stuff works. It just gives us the direction that we need, and we follow it. It's the same exact thing with the right side of our mind. We just need to follow the right side of our mind, and our left brain will get us there. So, be very intentional. And then the last thing that we'll discuss in this video is to just do not. The Bible talks about fearing the Lord, and I never understood that, because why would I want to fear my Lord when my Lord is supposed to be a loving, gracious God? But now I understand that this God in the Bible, respectfully, in my worldview, is not literal. And if you are a firm believer, a fundamentalist, I'm not here to persuade you. This is purely just my beliefs, and if you don't like that, that's okay. I'm not. We all have our right to believe what we want. So respect me for this, and I will respect you for your belief in taking the Bible literally. But I do not see the Bible as literal. Some of it I do, obviously, but not all of it. But when the Bible talks about fearing the Lord, it's really fearing the lack of control over your dominion, fearing the consequences of not pursuing what it is you want to pursue. Because if Philippians 2 verse 5 through 6, let this mind be in you, which also being in Christ Jesus, who being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God. Or Luke chapter 17 verse 21, let this look here nor there, for the kingdom of God is within you. There are many scriptures in the Bible that tells us that God, Jesus, is not something outside of us, but something within us. We need to harness this power. If we do not, we are the people in the Bible who are killed, are destroyed, are sick, have no hope. And that is rather dark and gloomy. But understand this. There's never a moment that you do not have access to this power, that you do not have access to joy, to take joy in the Lord rather than fear the Lord. And even though there shouldn't be, a present consciousness of having fear of the Lord, but there should always be an underlying understanding to fear the Lord, because if I do not take control over my left and right hemisphere of my mind, I will be at the mercy of what the corrupt elite want you to think, what they want me to think. And I refuse to be governed by people who don't care about me, who think I am simply cattle, who they think you're cattle just as well. And do not think for a second that that's just a conspiracy theory, because it absolutely is not a conspiracy theory. It's a fundamental fact of our reality. There's more than enough evidence to prove this. And I'm not going to sit here and explain this stuff to you, because there's an enormous amount of material for you to go look up yourself right now on how this stuff is very much a truth. I recommend reading A White Pale Horse by William Cooper. Beware, it will fuck you up if you are not already used to this idea. But you got to get there at some point, so you might as well just do it. But in the same way that these elites wants to control you, the energy of God will steer you in how you present yourself to the world. And how you present yourself to the world is how you think to yourself, how you believe the world interacts with you, how you interact yourself with the world. And if you do not have ownership of your God-given rights, good luck. You're gonna be sick. You're gonna be miserable. You're gonna be broke. You might not be broke, but you might be miserable too. So what's the point of having wealth if you're miserable? I don't see any. Yeah, it's better to cry in a Bentley than a fucking broken down Civic, but they're the same thing. Who cares if it's a nicer car? it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You're still miserable. So, with all this being said, be very intentional with how you think to yourself. You might not have reasons that are present to you on how and why you can be positive or grateful for your life, but you best find it. You have to find it. Because if you do not find it, you will continue to manifest more garbage and shit for your life. And there's always reasons. And it could be something as small as having a nice cup of coffee in the morning. You know, I'm beyond blessed to have this space that I'm in. I have a roof over my head. I have a high-paying job that I built. I built that fucking shit. I wasn't handed anything. I was the one who built it. Obviously, my brothers helped. But I take pride in the fact that I am the one who provides much of the guidance. I have the one who has all the painting experience, most of the painting experience. I've been a huge factor in this business, and it's okay to be proud of that. You know, I used to think that I was being too prideful or too egotistical, but no, I'm just proud of who I've become and who I've become and what I've been able to create based on who I was, or based on who I created for myself. And I realized, you know, this lesson of being sick I'm grateful for that, because I will do better on not focusing on shit that doesn't matter. Like, who cares if I have to go paint a little bit for a week or 2 weeks? It's just a week or two, man. Like, am I really gonna get this pissed over a week or two of work? Like, that seems, it's just selfish, and it's kind of pathetic. In all honesty, it's just kind of pathetic that people are working much worse jobs than I am. People are in literal slavery right now. People in prisons are being paid 10 cents an hour to build machines for the I don't even know if I want to say, because I don't even know if YouTube will. I don't know but they build machines in car parts for the military. That's literal slavery. So I could be in their position, but I'm not. So why am I complaining about working a great job for a week or two with my two brothers that I love? This video could be a lot longer, but I feel it's come to its end. So be mindful, be grateful, be positive, and don't do the toxic positivity stuff, man. If you're feeling like shit, get that shit out. Be a grump, but get back up on that horse and keep moving, keep being positive, because it's not worth it. But don't deny your right to self-expression. If you need to go punch some shit, go punch some shit. If you need to go cry, go cry. If you need to do what you need to do, do it. Just don't let it become who you are. Because you have a lot of people who think it's okay to constantly be a sensitive little fucking, I don't know, degenerate. There's one thing to self-express when it's needed versus just having an identity around being miserable. You're going to continue to be miserable for the rest of your life. But appreciate you watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out.